Most editors, they never finish their films, and it's not because they lack talent, it's more on the fact that they try to make everything look perfect before the story actually exists.
I'm standing here, you make the move.
How do we get into editing our own project without trying to explode so many things at once? Well, that's where the different passes come into play. What we're going to do here is I'm in DaVinci Resolve 20 right now. And as you can see on the left, we have our audio, our establishers. These are my different timelines. I label them as passes, and you can see them down here: assembly, structure, performance, rhythm, continuity, picture lock. We'll be going through these in the coming weeks, but today we're focusing in on the assembly cut. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. That's a little scary. If you guys haven't seen this film, it's called Mia. It's actually on our channel. It's a cute little, I would call it more of a skit than a short film, but the main idea behind it was just so I could teach you guys the different editing techniques and the ways that help me be more efficient with my time when it comes to editing. Assembly cut is essentially your skeleton of the film. You know, you're laying it out on the timeline from beginning to end, and then you got your rough cut, right? And that's where you're putting the muscle, the meat on it. So you're getting into the close-ups, the tights, the medium shots, and you start putting the inserts in. That's the rough cut. Assembly is more of just the bare bones skeleton, getting it laid out onto the timeline. So our main task in the assembly is going through the different takes and finding the take that you feel like works the best. Don't spend hours on it. Just go through it and find the take that you want to use for the main assembly cut. And a lot of times I use the establisher or the wide shot just because it just makes it easier. When I get into the rough cut, I can start cutting in from the wide. And it's all up to your preference, what works best for you. The main thing about the assembly cut is just finding the best take and moving on. Like, it shouldn't take you longer than 30 seconds per shot to actually lay it out on the timeline. If it takes you longer than 30 seconds, just move on and go back into that scene. I know as a director, editor, that I can get attached to a certain shot and I'm like, oh, I want that shot so bad. But if it doesn't make sense in the story, then don't have it. So we're going to go in here and we're working on scene 1. And I'm just going to go ahead and use this take here because it looks like I used it before. And you can see this doesn't bother me in this one. This is just the skeleton. So we're looking at this and we see her coming in, go into our next scene. And that's just her coming through the door here. Okay. So we see her, blah, blah, blah. She's walking in. We'll go ahead and use that. Now, as you notice, a lot of this audio dropped in right here. And this is not camera audio. This is actual boom audio and the lavs that we used on the set. If you guys haven't seen that video about the hidden feature, you guys need to do so. It's in the description box. It is literally time saving, and I wish I could have found it earlier because it's amazing. Like, you can literally organize all your shots in here and sync all your audio in bulk and call it a day, which is absolutely amazing. With that, we're going to move on. We got that take. We'll go into this scene, and I think this was our best take. And she's running off. We'll probably keep it right there. That's probably our longest scene. Okay. As you see, we have other takes and stuff, but we're not getting into the muscle here today. We're going to go into scene 5, find our best take, which I think it was this one. Okay. We'll cut this. This is probably going to be pretty slow. But now, look at this. We have the whole entire skit made out on a timeline, and it took us probably about 15-20 minutes to do. You know, we get those best takes in there. That's it. This is the skeleton of the film. We're going to be building upon this right here. And it makes sense here because now we got her coming in. Okay. Okay. Oh, shoot. We forgot to cut this. That's why we're watching it through. Okay. There we go. I think this ends good. See, and now your brain is starting to think like what other cuts you can actually have in here, right? So you're seeing the whole thing play out.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Just the water. Crazy to see what they're doing with these nulties these days. He went rummaging through the trash and they killed him on the spot. Not working?
I don't think so. These AI things never work for me. Maybe it's the internet connection or something like that.
Gonna need to do this old school. Honey, I'm gonna need some help over here. Wait!
Stay focused. Stay
Okay.
Won't find any food in there. Penalty sleemed about this morning. You're one of them, aren't you? No. Look, you don't have to lie. Who says I'm lying? Who says you're not?
All right. I see an issue here. And instead of solving that issue, like we have several issues here. We could see this and we can see some vignette happening, right? So what we can do here is not to actually cut in or anything like that. We will flag it by marking it. So we know exactly what is happening during this marker and saying we need to fix it. Let's say slider in shot. Actually, this is supposed to be on my name. We'll say fix slider in shot. Done. Okay. So now we can see this marker on this and we know what we need to fix. Like this one, we will press M for our marker. We'll name this fix. Now, how do you know if you're done with your assembly cut? That's the main thing that we got to ask ourselves. Well, if it's long and drawn out and more than your targeted end time, then you probably got the assembly cut made out. Now, the most important thing about the entire assembly cut is taking a break from it. After you're done with this, I want you to step away from the computer entirely. Take like an hour break and then get back to it, watch it through. And this is the most critical part here, is watching the story through. It might be drawn out, might be kind of boring at times, but that is the most important part of the entire cut. This is what you're building. This is your skeleton. You want to make sure that it's ready to go for the next pass. And I feel like the key thing on this is not to touch anything. I know it's very, very difficult to do because you want to touch it. You want to cut some things in. You want to make it look perfect, but that's not your job here. Your job is just to lay it out in the timeline, taking notes, marking it, and moving on. That's it. Like even in the rough cut, let's just say that you watch everything through in your assembly cut and say, I don't like this scene here. I want to move it over to scene 1. Then you can mark it and say, move shot. I think this works better in scene 1. So now you have these markers and you can go back in here and figure out what you want when it comes into the cutting. And what you do now is you'll press Command C or your copy. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And we're going to paste our assembly cut in our rough cut. Now, I know that our markers won't transfer over, but you can see your markers clearly in the assembly cut pass. You can even do the rough cut inside the same timeline. I just prefer not to because that way I know what pass I'm on and what task I am doing. So, yes, when you're done with the assembly cut, step away for like an hour. Come back, watch it through, and then you will know exactly what your story is about and how you're going to go about doing it. Real quick before you guys go, we are giving away a copy of DaVinci Resolve Studio for one of you guys, and all you guys got to do is click that link in the description box and it'll take you to where you fill out the form, and that's it. We are going to be giving it out in the first week of April, so stay tuned for that. It's very exciting. But next week, we'll be diving into more on the meats of the project. We'll be diving into the structure or the rough cut pass and going into the muscle of the project. But until then, let's get back to the editing room.